Hi everyone, and welcome back to Bowdie Shorts, making law make sense in 15 minutes or less. And in this particular video, we're going to be looking at an introduction to trusts, with the main question being, why doesn't the owner simply give the property away? And the answer to that question is, because that's actually the entire reason trusts exist. Now, most people hear the word trust and immediately think about millionaires, family fortunes, tax planning, and ancient aristocrats. Yet trusts are actually everywhere. Anyone who has a pension, any property that's owned by a number of different people. Charities, great example of a trust. Investment funds. Trusts form part of everyday legal practice. So before we start learning trust law, we need to answer that one fundamental question of what is a trust? Well, most property ownership is simple. You own something, it belongs to you. You can do what you like with it. And lawyers would call this absolute ownership. But sometimes we want one person to manage the property while somebody else benefits from it. And that's where trusts come in. So trusts in one sentence would be a trust is an arrangement where one person holds property for the benefit of another. And that's it. That's the entire subject in a single sentence. Everything else is just detail. So who's involved? Well, three people. Firstly, the settlor. They're the person who creates the trust. Next, the trustee. They're the person who manages the property. And then we have the beneficiary. That's the person who gets the benefit. Now, this is where trusts become different from ordinary ownership, because ownership is split into two parts. We have legal ownership, that is that the property belongs to the trustee. And then we have equitable ownership, which belongs to the beneficiary. So this is the beneficial component of the ownership coin. Now, why is this useful? Well, because the beneficiary might be a child, might be someone who's vulnerable, somebody who's inexperienced, somebody who's not yet entitled to have the property. So a trustee can manage the property until the beneficiary is ready. So let's use an example to try and pull all this together. So a grandparent wants to leave £50,000 for a grandchild. Give it outright? Well, the grandchild would receive everything immediately. That might not be appropriate if the grandchild was less than 1 year old, for example. But if we create a trust, the money can be managed and used for that grandchild. So it could be used for education, maintenance, or future needs. So why do trusts matter? Well, trusts, as we've said already, appear everywhere. They appear in wills, pensions, family property, charities, investments, and estate planning. And students often get overwhelmed because trusts seem very technical. But almost everything that we study as part of this subject comes back to two questions. Who controls the property and who benefits from the property? And if you can answer those two questions, you're already halfway to understanding trust law. Now, brief mention of equity at this point, and I will keep this deliberately short. Historically, equity developed to achieve fairness where common law could produce harsh outcomes. Its greatest invention was, you guessed it, the trust. So when we actually look at the next stage of where we're going to go with this, we're going to need to start by looking at those types of trusts. So just in terms of giving you an initial thought about those, we're going to be looking at express trusts, resulting trusts, constructive trusts. And I'm deliberately not giving you any detail yet. That's just enough to show you what's coming. So what's Bowdie's bottom line? Well, whenever you hear the word trust, ask who controls the property and who benefits from the property. If those are different people, you're probably looking at a trust. Everything else we study in this series is really just an explanation of how that arrangement works. So that's our introduction to trust video. There'll be more videos available in the YouTube series coming soon. Please look out for those. Thank you very much for watching.